Welcome to our final segment of Cult Fiction, a show that was greenlit by its producers, but only survived 2 episodes. I wonder why. I'm your host, Tony Roberson. Today we will be diving into Disney, because there's someone out there who loves Disney so much that they feel underrepresented. I'm joined today by Tyler, Paige, and Lexi. Today we will be discussing Disney princesses and comparing them on a variety of topics and their movies. We would then have a multimedia piece created by Alex Dreyer. Then we will wrap up today's segment with some Disney movie recommendations. So Disney princesses. So we will start with Paige. We're going to ask, what would be your favorite Disney princess or princesses? We don't judge.
Yeah, so I guess the first one that comes to mind, it's a little bit more recent, but Tiana from Princess and the Frog. I believe it came out in 2009, so it's not super recent, but it's, recent enough to talk about. I just think she's a very, strong female character. We haven't really seen too many of those, but I think those are coming out, more recently in the newer Disney movies. But another reason why I love it so much is because it's based in New Orleans, and they throw a lot of New Orleans culture in it. So I think that's why I was drawn to it initially, just the movie itself, and then, I've watched it a handful of times, and every time I just pick out, little things that I like about her and her personality, and just this strong character that they give her.
Yeah, you definitely see a lot of newer Disney movies shifting to this very strong female-centered role. So, you think of Princess of the Frog, and then you think of, Frozen and Brave. You definitely see, these strong female. Why do you think that these movies have been making this shift? Do you think that the political climate as it is today, it could be a factor to that?
Yeah, I think it's just, the generational change, that really wasn't a big factor in past generations, but more so in the new millennium and everything. Millennials, that's the main theme it seems to be. So I think that's becoming more prevalent in pop culture.
Definitely. Are there any other Disney princesses that you think would be your favorite?
I'm a fan of Snow White. Not really her character, herself, but just the movie. It was the first Disney movie, made by Walt Disney. So I think that's just kind of has a place in my heart. But yeah.
God, how old is that movie?
It's 60, 1939.
She's
39? I thought it was 60. Wow, it was even older. Okay.
So,
That's
wow.
Awesome. That's crazy. I kind of wanted to springboard off of what Paige was saying, with the strong, female, princess characters and everything coming into view. I'd probably say one of my favorites. I know everyone's going to groan, but I really like Frozen.
There's the groan.
The biggest reason, though, why I like Frozen is because of the whole concept of, with Elsa, trying to find herself and figure everything out with who she is as a person and a human being and her powers and trying to control them, and it's all linked to her emotions. But the whole, scheme of the movie ends up that she doesn't just save herself or be saved by, falling in love with a man. The love that she's saved by is the sisterly love, and, I just love that whole bond between her and Anna as a character, and I think that, not only just shows her and both of those characters as just strong female characters, but the idea that love is expansive, and it can encompass so many more things than just, oh, I need a prince to come save me, and, you can have just as important love from a family member or friends or other people in your life. So I think that's one of the biggest concepts that I pull from Frozen, even though it's very overrated in a lot of ways now. But I just love that whole concept of you can be saved just by love in general, and it doesn't have to be from a prince.
So what you're saying is this is a strong, independent white woman that don't need no man.
Very true. You just need her sister, obviously. Hans needs to go back to wherever.
Just get out of here.
Just get out of here.
Well said, Tony.
Well said.
I mean, someone had to say it. So, Tyler.
So if I had to pick a princess, because you said princess, I'd say Belle from Beauty and the Beast, only because it's probably one of my favorite Disney princess stories. But going on the whole strong woman, the one who started it all, it has to be Mulan.
I knew that. Oh my goodness.
She started it all. It was the first strong female lead role in a Disney movie that wasn't centered on princesses or princes. She was a warrior, and I don't know. That's what really appealed to me when I was young, and she.
It kind of encompasses with Brave too,
Mm-hmm.
her character. She was being forced to get married to one of the other men from all the different surrounding area so they can combine their kingdom and all of that kind of stuff. And she's like, no, like, I want to go and ride horses and shoot things with my bow and arrow and be awesome and be a strong, independent woman. And I don't need to be, like, just this princess figure. I can be strong and a warrior as well. So I totally agree.
Totally, and I think, like, this was one of the first times you saw that, too, is going against, like, gender norms. Like, they were really against her going to war. I mean, the way it started out is they had to get a man from each family to participate in the army, but her dad couldn't because how old he was and whatnot. And so she took up the responsibility and had the courage to do it. And I think that was the first time you saw really just going out of the whole gender norm thing.
It was a big selfless act. I think.
Very,
I've
oh
really
yeah.
seen that in Disney movies.
Definitely, it's one of those like those one of the movies that like it's funny because like you see like Frozen was like, oh well, this was like one of the big movies how this showed how strong a woman could be without a man, but like Mulan was like, I've been doing this for like
I've been doing this forever.
I've been doing this for longer than she's like, get in the back of the line. I'm already here first.
I saved all China.
I saved all China. So it's interesting because we were talking about how you guys made both comparisons like Frozen, Brave, and Mulan. Like, so we were talking about Disney movies and Disney princesses and like how they all correlate. So what about Disney villains? Do you guys have any favorite Disney villains that you would like to put on the table? We'll start with Tyler.
I would definitely say Shan Yu from Mulan.
Yeah, man,
Honestly, I just remember, I remember just
so
being
scary.
terrified, like, as a little kid. Like, the first scene of, like, where he comes out of the shadow and, like, it's really scary, like, for a little kid. And, like, I don't know, I just remember being terrified.
And they were like, when they went to that village, it was like burned down. I'm like,
yeah.
dude, whoa.
No,
I was like, is this a kid's movie?
intense, I know,
seriously,
yeah.
though, he's
Oh,
terrifying.
yeah, no, he's
Like, he
just
killed
remember
kids. I
being,
was like, oh, man. Know about that one.
yeah, no, it was very terrifying.
Yeah, for me, it would be The Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland. I know that movie's kind of trippy for, a kid to watch. I watched it many times growing up, but yeah, I think she's just so evil. Like, she just executes people, whenever she wants. If someone does something that she doesn't like, whether it's, a so-called bad or good thing, she will kill them. So.
She's super psychotic.
Yeah,
she
and-
just doesn't care.
She
She's
kills
just
her
a
own
power
people
trip.
all the time. She is psychotic. That's a good word.
She's
But
just
yeah.
psychotic. Yeah.
I actually never watched Alice in Wonderland, so
Oh.
all of this is news to me. So like,
Go watch it, it's fun.
For real.
And the new one
Yeah.
with Johnny Depp.
Oh, yeah.
That's a reason. to
Oh,
watch
she
it.
is
And
so
the sequel-
crazy in those movies.
the sequel's really
the live
good, too.
action ones.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good though too. For me, I'd probably say Scar from Lion King, just because his whole, yeah, you're like, hey, shirt. His whole just dark, sarcastic aesthetic, alongside his wonderful, beautiful voice, like that you just can't forget. Like, it just encompasses that character so well, and just the way that he just so manipulative with everything, and his character, like, maybe it's also because Lion King is one of my favorite movies and I've probably watched it 500 times, but like, Scar is a character that I'll never be able to forget, just because I love the kind of sly, manipulative kind of villains, because I think they're just so much more interesting and dynamic.
Mhm.
It's not just, oh, I'm gonna chop your head off. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be nice to you and smooth talk you, and then I'll chop your head off.
And everything
you
they
know?
do kind of like have a purpose to it, so it's
Exactly,
not like that of just pure
exactly.
chaos.
And
yeah.
they give him a very good background story too,
Yes.
so you almost
Yeah.
want to connect to him and like him, and then they, flip the switch.
She's
and
like,
hate him
I
again.
get
Yeah.
Mufasa. I was like, no.
It's just,
the
he's such a
saddest
dynamic
thing in all
character.
Disney movies. If you didn't
Yeah.
cry during that scene, just
Yeah, he's such a dynamic character, and I really like that, so.
I will agree. Like, the guy who plays Scar, like that man has an amazing voice. So,
Jeremy Irons.
That man has an amazing.
has such a good voice.
Like,
yeah, so is him.
Man, I think of all the villains in the Disney universe, like Maleficent is definitely my favorite, because like that woman is crazy. She didn't get invited to a party and she was like, well, I'm killing everybody now. Like, and that was it right there. Like, there was no, oh well, these people betrayed me. She was like, oh, you didn't invite me to a party? I couldn't sit at the cool people table? All right, everybody's dead. Like, that's just it. She tried to do a little girl. So like that, Maleficent was like, she was short and simple and straight to the point. Like, there was no like, middle ground there. Like, she was like, oh well, these people have to die because I didn't go to that party. And like, Maleficent is definitely a big centerpiece for me. So and it's really interesting because like if we take Scar, and we take the Queen of Hearts, and we take
Oh,
Shan
Shaolin.
Yu.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, I can remember that for a second. They all bring out specific elements, so it's really interesting. So now it's time for today's video segment of the week. Today's video is brought to you by On-Campus Parking. On-Campus Parking, it doesn't exist, so why bother? In today's video, Alex gives us a glimpse of what this year's C2E2 was like.
Hey guys, it's now like 8:50, and we're heading up all the way up to the C2E2. It's going to be a very long walk right now. And now comes the fun part. We get to wait in line.
Thanks for joining us today on Cult Fiction. We will now go around the table and talk about our recommendations on Disney movies, giving each movie a 1 out of 5 cult points on how quickly you should watch it. 1 point being, why is this a thing? And 5 being, time to put this on repeat. We at Cult Fiction aim to be as fair as possible, so if your movie didn't make it on the list, it's maybe not that good. So, Tyler.
So what I would recommend is the new live action of The Jungle Book. I think it was just a perfect redone of the whole of the movie. I think it was just overall all the elements. It was fun, it was scary, and it was just really overall really well done. Definitely recommend it. 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I know I already talked about mine, Princess and the Frog, but I would definitely give it a 5 because, well, for me, I'm a nerd. I'm a New Orleans nerd, and I've been there like a bunch of times in the last couple of years, and there's just so much culture and things that you can't get, you know, in cities like Chicago or like Minneapolis or, you know, like cities around here. So it's interesting, and they definitely bring out the culture in the movie and, like, you know, refer to actual landmarks and places that you can go to and, you know, just all that culture stuff. And there's good songs and humor and all the fun stuff that you get from like a normal Disney movie.
I would probably recommend Zootopia because it touches on a lot of awesome topics like with racism and individuality and like just going out there and being whatever you want to be regardless of, you know, how different you are and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's an awesome, you know, just overall concept to involve in a kids movie, and I think it's really telling of where we're progressing just in our society. 5 out of 5.
Well, mine's is Brave, 5 out of 5, because the mom turns into a bear, and like you can't really beat that. Like your mom turns.
Yeah,
into a
done.
bear. Done.
Exactly.
That was
Done.
it. That was perfect. So, thank you guys. Thank you so much for your recommendations. And this concludes our final segment of Cult Fiction, where we aim to see how many times we can say Disney before being flagged for copyright. A shout out to our Roundhouse table, Tyler, Paige, and Lexi, for being here today. And another huge shout out to the Culture team, who helped each segment better with each production. An A-team at its finest right there. I'm Tony Roberson, signing off for one final time, and graduation is around the corner. So stick it out. You're almost there.